Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I am just going to talk about how important your self-concept is. And don't mind me looking like this because I'm on my way to go somewhere, but like I wanted to upload more to my page and just give you guys like an authentic version of myself as I'm learning. Like I feel like it's best for you guys to see like my transition and my level up process, and I'm just going to be documenting it on my page and how to build your confidence, how to not let people take your power and taking your power back, and not being the victim anymore and just being the main character, and just realizing that like the world isn't that bad. It's really your perception and your self-concept. So yes, I'm gonna talk about that because I feel like that is what has transformed me as a person. And if you found my page, you're meant to be here. And whatever the message may, you know, have, just take what applies to you and your situation. But basically, like I just been going through a lot of different, like, what do you call that? Series of things. I wouldn't say like tests, but like I've realized that like self-concept is the main thing. When people talk about like building your confidence, I feel like the way that you view yourself and the thoughts that you have in your head, sometimes they're not in alignment with each other. Like the thoughts in your head, like say if like you look in the mirror and there's a voice in your head saying, hey, I am ugly, and then you yourself say out loud, I am beautiful. You see how those can be like conflicting. And sometimes it's just best to take the good. And if you can't just take the good that's in your head, just ignore it altogether and just have this knowing that you are a beautiful person. You are worthy because you are breathing. And because, you know, God made you. You are worthy of all the good things because you just are. Like it's really that simple. Like sometimes we can allow other people to get in our heads and other projections and stuff like that, especially with like social media nowadays. They project their fear and they tell you about their stories, and then all of a sudden you're thinking in your head about their situation and how it could happen to you. And it's just like a domino effect. So it's good to just take things into moderation. I am like taking social media breaks. I feel like those are necessary to building your character and finding yourself, because consuming anything too much can be detrimental to your mental health. And yeah, I just feel like those things and just trying to get rid of all of your addictions is key, because anything that you're doing too much of is gonna impact your mental health, physical health, spiritual health, whatever. So I just feel like there's a lot of heavy energy that's just been going on in general, a lot of stuff happening in the world, a lot of stuff happening in people's personal lives and stuff like that. And I have been able to just be in this euphoric happiness despite of everything around me. Like it's very, very weird. Like if I would like explain this to like a person who hasn't done any inner work, they would just be like, really? Like how can you think like that? Or they think like, oh, you're evil, or oh, you're detached, etc. Which I'm detached from your reality that you think I'm living in. Like it's kind of like that. Like a lot of people think that like we have to be living the exact same reality because we live on planet Earth. And that's just not true, because our brains are like, what we see is just a projection of what we think. It's just a projection of our minds. And that's what I came to notice, because like say if like sometimes when somebody be like, hey, did you see that? Oh my gosh. And then like there's a friend next to you and they didn't see it, but they were looking in the exact same direction. That is like a instant form of what I'm talking about when I say that your mind is just like a projector of your thoughts and stuff like that. That's why people really need to learn how to master like self-concept and have a really great understanding of who they are as a person, or you will lose yourself in someone else's life and their reality. Because you have to think about it, their brain is their brain, your brain is your brain, and when you try to merge them together, there's things that might not work out with yours. And so I feel like that's important. It's very important. And it's also important about how you show up in the world. Like, I realized that, what do you call that? I wouldn't call it like the villain error, but it's basically like whenever, like, say for instance, you're trying to learn how to set a boundary with someone, or you feel like you have the word use me on your forehead and people have just been like using you and abusing you. But if you think about it from the perspective of why am I allowing this? How did we get here? You'll realize that you've been answering the phone when you don't have the mental capacity. You've been overextending yourself to people when you don't even have the energy. You've been letting people come in and out of their house whenever you want to. You answer the phone at anybody's beck and call. You're just present for everything, and that's not healthy. And that's how you set boundaries. You're just simply not there. Because a lot of people are just like, oh, such and such called me and did this and this and this to me and blah 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 blah, they emotional dumped on me and blah blah blah. That would have never happened if you were not present for that to happen to you, if that makes sense. Just stop being available for certain things. And I feel like that's what's made like a major breakthrough for me. And I'm just gonna document like everything that I've been going through, because like I realize it's how I show up in the world. Like, say if I lash out and I'm mean to someone and that's their first impression of me, and say if, I don't know, like we are in a workplace and all of a sudden your reputation is like tarnished because this person that you lashed out at one time because you decided not to, use your emotional intelligence in that moment to, transmute that into something positive rather than letting it harbor and just come out as like rage or anger or yelling or cursing or whatever. Now you've ruined your reputation because that person talks a lot. So now everybody thinks that this is you. And now you can't get that raise for another year or two or whatever until that person leaves, etc. Or you end up getting fired or something like that. But it's just the version of you if you didn't yell, and if you just, acted in a more calmer way, or just simply no response and told the supervisor, maybe that person would have just got fired or moved to a different department. Then you would have been unbothered. You probably would have been moved to another, you probably would have been leveled up to another position just because you show that you have good character and emotional intelligence. Like, it's all about how you show up in the world, and that is very important. So, yeah, I used to have like, people like in my family and stuff like that. And I used to think that they were out to get me and blah, blah, blah. And like, they just like, they don't understand. They're a narcissist, blah, blah, blah. But really it was like how I was showing up. I was showing up as a people pleaser. I was showing up as someone who didn't know their worth. And once I found my worth, I realized that it was about how I was showing up in their lives. I was always available. I was always there. So of course they're gonna do that because that's their nature. Everyone has certain type of traits that take. Like, we have to take to get money from our jobs. We have to take because we have to. We have to pay our bills. We have to. So we have this innate taking energy because we need to do other things. And so when you're dealing with certain situations like that, you just have to learn how to shift your brain in different situations. And I know it can be really hard, but it's another form of like programming, because like we've been programmed to people please because, I don't know, maybe when we were younger, we had a lot of people projecting on us like, you're not good enough. Why are you just like this? Why are you just like this? Do this, do that. And you're a kid. You don't really know that much about the world yet. And you just have all these different projections being pushed on you, and that's your innate nature now. And when you grow up, you realize, hey, this is a problem. This isn't okay. This is actually affecting my mental health. And now we're here trying to do that inner work and kind of undo all of those knots and cords and things that have been in our life for such a long time. So it's time to reprogram. And when you learn to reprogram, you learn that, like, the world really isn't this scary, dark place. Those are just projections of other people. We are here to have a human experience and enjoy life. We are not here to be depressed and all of that other stuff. We're not here to do that. So, I just wanted to share that today because I know I haven't posted in a while, but I feel like this is just, it hit home for me. And I hope you guys enjoy this video. I hope you guys have a great day, and yeah, happy transformation, all that good stuff.